Everyone hates what they wanted. I'm Ed, and welcome back to another video on Influential Sports. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And let me get into this video and what I mean by this. Everyone hates what they wanted. And this video is about Lyra Valkyria, as you can see from the thumbnail. So WWE fans complain about not having young stars, so WWE is building one in Lyra Valkyria. People complain about long-term storytelling, but WWE is using Lyra, Bayley, and Becky to tell a long-term story that really hasn't been super long compared to other stories that we've seen, especially recently in WWE. And I will include live events in this as well, because Lyra's longest story was from a live event with Zoe Stark. They had 5 matches, and Lyra won all of them. Now, was I watching those matches? No, I think I seen the one on main event, but even that. So these are non-televised matches that most people aren't seeing. But Lyra had 5 matches against Zoe Stark, won all 5 of them. 4 were for the IC title. The one on main event wasn't for some reason. So I guess the only thing that tells me is that they weren't confident enough in this feud to put it on TV, because they didn't do anything with this, especially in 2025. They had a little bit of something in 2024, but they didn't really explore this at all in 2025, aside from live events to test it out and see what could it be. And obviously they wasn't rocking with it, which is why they never put it on TV. And while these 5 matches only happened in the month of March, wasn't separated or spread out at all. Now, people think that the story with her, Bayley, and Becky is dragging, but nobody said the Carmelo Hayes and Andrade story was dragging. From Money in the Bank of last year, of 2024, to now, of really a few weeks ago, maybe, up until May 30th. So that was a few months ago. Yeah, they've had 22 matches that involved each other. 22 matches that involved Andrade and Carmelo. Most of these were one-on-one matches. There was really nothing in between aside from the LA Knight feud. Carmelo Hayes had a few dark matches here and there, and I did include live events in these. Andrade won 10 of the matches. Carmelo won 7 of the matches. Then in 5 matches that were draws. It was the Money in the Bank. They both lost that match. They had a draw on October 25th last year. They both lost. They lost 2 triple threat matches. The first one, LA Knight, at the pay-per-view, then another one at a live event. Then they both lost in the Royal Rumble this year. So those are the 5 draws. And so 22 matches that featured these two, and most of them were one-on-one matches. And some of them did have other people involved. But every time that they drew, the only part, unless it was a battle royal or something like that, it involved LA Knight. And I'm pretty sure LA Knight was in that Money in the Bank match as well last year. Yeah, he was, because he was just in 3 straight. And this is why I say everyone hates what they wanted, because people wanted a young star to be built in WWE in general. And they did the Lyra Valkyria, first ever women's Intercontinental Champion, and defeated Dakota Kai to win the championship. And that was a solid match. I enjoyed that match. I felt like that should have been on the Netflix debut instead of just giving us 3 matches. But that being the second week that Raw was on Netflix, I enjoyed that match, and I thought that Raw was better than the first one. And then the Royal Rumble, you built a little bit of a story with her and Ivy now, which you took a bit longer to revisit, which isn't on either one of them. That's on WWE, because Dakota Kai would defeat Ivy now in the number 1 contenders match to get another shot and lose once again. So Lyra won 2 competitive matches against Dakota Kai that I enjoyed. So people don't understand this whole thing of, I think Lyra's first IC title reign was a good one. I don't get why people think it was so bad. Did she get a lot of segments? No, but that's not on her. WWE is the one that isn't using all 3 hours they have on Raw. They're the ones cutting it short to 2.5 hours. And then even the segment she had with Ivy now going into it, just saying that she isn't looking past Ivy now, but she knows she's capable of beating her. And then she did that. She proved that because Ivy now obviously mentioned eliminating her in the Royal Rumble, and she was able to win that match on March 3rd. The match I forgot to mention was the match she had with Bayley, which she lost in the Elimination Chamber qualifier match, and it was just a random match they had. Then they revisited the match later for Lyra to get the win. Yes, it was a roll-up, but it was still a good match, and they went 1-1 against each other. Do you want stories to be like Jada Parker and Lola Vice and have no conclusion after it's 1-1? Because they're still 1-1 right now in NXT. They've had no conclusion to their story. What sense does that make? And then March On March 24th, she defeats Raquel Rodriguez in a solid match to retain the IC title. This is one of Raquel, and Raquel's had a few solid showings this year. This one wasn't her best, but this was still a solid one, I will say that. Like I said, April 7th, she defeated Bayley to retain the title. This was Bayley's, since she already beat her before, this was the, and Lyra wanted the rematch to prove that she can beat Bayley, and she did that, but now they're one-on-one against each other. And so, of course, they're going to have another match. It makes the most sense. Now, should Lyra have been thrown into the tag team scene? No, she should have had a normal one-on-one match for a title at WrestleMania. But her and Bayley ran the gauntlet on April 11th of that SmackDown. Fun gauntlet match. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good match. And then Becky takes out Lyra, and then you get the story of it's not the same as the Jade and Naomi thing. Becky Lynch takes out Lyra. Takes out Bayley. Lets us know on that Raw following WrestleMania when she turned on her. And the host, then Lyra, she feels betrayed by Becky, which she was, because she thought that was her friend. And as soon as they lose the titles that following Monday after winning it at WrestleMania, and I think the Raw match was better than the Mania match, you get a story there instantly. Becky's able to get the first win, defeating Becky at Backlash, and what was a very entertaining match. Then she lost to Becky at Money in the Bank, which was also a good match, but I don't think it was as good as the first one at Backlash. So you have a story there. And Lyra still holds 2 wins over Becky. So why wouldn't she get another shot at the championship? This is basic logic. This is what happens in feuds and storylines. So then but Bayley also wants revenge on Becky. And Lyra did end up costing Bayley in her match, but she tried to help her at first. Let's not act like she just cost her on purpose. She got her back up because she was buried behind the announce table and was trying to get counted out until Lyra came out there to help her. So I don't think Lyra is the one that's jealous here. Bayley is the one that's jealous. Because Lyra tried to help her, and if she didn't, she would have been counted out and lost, and Becky still would have retained regardless. And then it ended in the DQ. Lyra and Bayley had a one-on-one match. They ended in a draw and a double pin, which was really stupid. I think it was another way you could have got a triple threat match without doing that. So you go into Evolution, had a triple threat match, which was a great way to get the show started. One of the best matches of the year, I will say. I did enjoy it. And then she doesn't take the pin in the match. And Bayley is the one that took the pin. And Becky rolled her up to get the win, and she retained her title. So now in matches featuring both Becky and Lyra, they are 2-2 against each other. Because Lyra has 2 wins in one-on-one matches. Becky has a win in a triple threat match just recently where she didn't pin Lyra, and a win in a one-on-one match. So them having a 5th match should not be a problem for you people. Them having a 5th match, when we've seen multiple best-of-7 series between Cesaro and Sheamus, between Andrade and Carmelo. Nobody complained about that. And like I said, Andrade and Carmelo have had 22 matches featuring each other, and most of these matches were one-on-one matches. Some of the best stories in wrestling have multiple matches. You don't just end it after 2 unless that person goes 2-0 against the person. Brock and Cody was 3 matches. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre was 3 matches. So you can live with Becky and Lyra being a 5-match series. And the first match being at 2023. The 5th one, the matches 2 through 5 will happen this year. And then Lyra just defeated Bayley in a very good 2 out of 3 falls match on Raw to earn another shot at the title. You're saying she didn't earn it, but she still had. But her and Becky are tied in wins. They have 2 wins against each other. So how did she not earn it? She won the match, and now she's getting another shot at SummerSlam, which will likely be her last shot. And people are saying, oh, she went back just to defend it against Bayley or Becky again. But when she was champion the first time, she defended it against multiple people. She defended it against Dakota Kai, against Ivy Nile, against Bayley, against Raquel Rodriguez, against Zoe Stark. Granted, those were on live events, so WWE wasn't confident enough in that feud to put it on TV. So I don't get this whole logic that WWE fans want long-term storytelling, and they give us this, and is the story the best? No. Has it been solid? Yes, it's had its moments. It's been solid, and it's not like she's had a crazy amount of matches. Her and Bayley were 1-1 against each other because their other match ended in a draw. Then Bayley took the pin in the triple threat match, but Lyra also lost because she didn't win. So then you finally get a conclusion to their story with Bayley winning. With Lyra winning to be the #1 contender, and Bayley turning wouldn't make sense because then that gives and that's an excuse to have another match. So if you don't want them to have another match, why would Bayley turn? Lyra was a definitive winner. It wasn't a roll-up pin in that final fall. She got the pin clean. There wasn't no shenanigans that went on in the match. She's going to go in to challenge Becky. She probably should get it back because Lyra did have a better reign than what Becky is doing right now. And then maybe she, like, and there's so many people, like y'all keep saying, oh, somebody else deserves it, somebody else should get a shot. Well, who? Y'all keep saying all these other people should get a shot when some of these people she's already beaten, and some of these people simply can't get shots. Because I haven't heard of, nobody said Roxanne Perez's name, which I understand because she's a tag team champion. I seen somebody mention Julia, so you're just brain dead because Julia is the Women's United States Champion on SmackDown. So realistically, who do you want in the title picture? You can't complain, and WWE gives us long-term storytelling. Like I said, has it been the best story? No. Naomi and Jay still had the best women's story in WWE this year, and there's a few stories in AEW that were a lot better than this, but it doesn't make it terrible. I think this story has been solid. It's had some good matches. The promos, when it's just been the two of Lyra and Bayley, or Lyra and Becky, or Becky and Bayley, when it's just been the two, it's been fine. When I think it's all three of them, that's where it messes up. And Lyra has a TV record, so has a TV record of 9-5-1. So that's Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-views. So she went 9-5-1. Y'all act like she went 15-0. No, she's lost matches. She's taken pins. She took the pin when they lost the women's tag team titles on that Raw. So if you want, then people complain about it. They want young stars to be built up, so they're doing that and built the perfect young star in the women's division who can go in the ring, who's amazing in the ring, and she's gotten better on the mic. The Becky Lynch segments definitely helped her. I think the stuff with Ivy now was solid. Like I said, it wasn't I'm not going to act like it's the greatest stuff she ever did, but it was definitely solid. And feuds need payoffs. If the rivalry is tied, when the Carmelo and Andrade was tied 3-3, everybody wanted a game 7. But now that Becky and Lyra are tied 2-2, it's a problem. We're getting a game 5 at SummerSlam, at the biggest event of the summer. And the last thing I'll say is, if Becky and Bayley ever happens again, it needs to be for a world championship, not for a mid-card title. These are two of the biggest stars in women's wrestling all time. So I think it'd be more beneficial if they feud again at some point, it should be for a world title, not the mid-card title. I think Becky did a solid job adding prestige to the title, but that's really why Becky and Bayley are here, to add prestige to it, to build it up some more. But Bayley doesn't benefit from winning this title. And I think we already seen the match on Raw, but I think it'd be more beneficial if it was at a WrestleMania for a world title. That's what I think it is. And Bayley's contract is up at the end of next year. I think she could get one more run, but I think either a non-title match or for the world title, but I don't see them happening. I don't see these two having a mid-card feud. But everyone hates what they wanted. Lyra Valkyria is what everybody wanted. You wanted long-term storytelling, and Lyra Valkyria was part of that with Becky and Bayley, and what's been a solid story. Not a good one, a solid one. And then you also wanted a young star. Lyra Valkyria is only 28. She hasn't been doing this for a long time. So, and then she's had solid matches. Like most of these matches, I can't say they were bad matches. Maybe the WrestleMania match might be the only one I could say, oh, that was a bad match, in all honesty. But then, and one last thing before I end this video, Lyra has gotten better and gotten more over consistently since her time being on the main roster. She's continued to progress and get over with the crowd. So that's all I have to say about that. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, a comment what y'all thought about this video, and share for others to see.